I love EDM, and I love the idea that it's a marketing term.
Hey guys, before we dive into today's episode, I wanted to introduce you to an amazing, exciting new brand called Candy Bar. Candy Bar is helping ravers connect through one of the most iconic rave culture staples, candy. They offer 3 different variety packs of candy that come pre-made, so you do not need to spend hours hunched over searching through letters trying to put your candy bracelets together. It's already done for you, and it comes quickly shipped to your door. So if you guys want to get stuff in time for EDC Las Vegas or EDC Orlando, any events coming up, definitely put your orders in now. There are 3 different variety packs you can choose from. There's EDM Life, Good Vibes, and Party Hard, which is a personal favorite of mine. If you guys want sayings that are a little bit more R-rated, definitely go for that one. But every pack offers something new and exciting. It's also the perfect gift to give to a Rave fam member as well to make sure that they are fully stocked for their next event. Head over to candy.bar and use code EMMAK for 10% off your orders. That's candy, KANDI.BAR, and use code EMMAK for 10% off your orders. I can't even tell you how amazing it felt to open my Candy Bar packages and see all of the different surprise phrases that they had. I'm a big fan, like I said, of the Party Hard pack, and then they also have a mega pack as well if you want to order more candy. But it seriously makes everything so easy for you, and you save a ton of time. So definitely check them out. Candy, KANDI.bar, code EMMAK for 10% off your orders. Hey there, welcome to Rave Culture Cast, your weekly guide to the EDM community, music festivals, and more, hosted by me, Emma Capotis. Each week, I'll be covering everything from dance music culture, industry news, trending topics, and festival tips, advice, and reviews. You can also expect to hear stories from ravers, artists, business owners, and more. Tune in every Wednesday for your weekly dose of peace, love, unity, and respect. Hey guys, welcome back to Rave Culture Cast, your weekly guide to the EDM community, music festivals, and more. I am your host, Emma Capotis. What is up, fam? I just noticed, do you hear my real voice is back? I feel like the last few weeks I've had like raspy party girl voice as I was recovering from ARC and then my friend's wedding, but we're back and we're feeling good. So I hope you all are having an amazing week so far. Today's episode is an awesome one. I'm so excited to share this guest with you and get into all the topics that we're going to be talking about. But I just had to quickly say, because like I got to be real with you and let you all know how I'm feeling. And it's been a rough last few weeks. I don't know if anybody else feels the same energy or has been dealing with like stressful situations, miscommunications, just feeling a little bit down. But like that's kind of the headspace I've been in. And I usually am a really positive person. So I know what to do at this point to like get myself out of those situations. So for me, it's like exercising or meditating. I pull tarot cards every morning. Like those are my self-care practices. So I've been trying to do a lot of that. But just wanted to say that I feel really good today. Like today's the first time I woke up in the last 2 weeks where I felt like more refreshed. But yeah, if you guys are going through the same thing, just know like you'll get through it. You're going to come out the other side and you're going to be all right. So I just wanted to say that because I know Mercury is in retrograde right now, which if none of you believe in that, that's totally fine, but it fucks with you and it allows for all of these types of situations and energies to happen. So it makes a whole lot of sense. But with all of that being said, there are a lot of amazing things to look forward to. We're in spooky season. This is a huge month, I'm sure for a lot of you, but like for me, this is a big one. So this weekend coming up 2 days from now, actually tomorrow, by the time this comes out tomorrow, I am leaving for Miami to go on my bachelorette party, which is, I can't believe it's here. Like honestly, it just feels surreal. I've done friends' bachelorette parties and things like that. And my plans have changed over the time. I was originally supposed to do New Orleans and then we switched to go to Miami Beach. And I'm really happy with that decision. We have a lot in store. And actually next week's episode, I believe, is going to be a full recap of my bachelorette party, which is a little different for the podcast, but I'm going to be going to Space for the first time, which is an iconic dance music venue. I've always wanted to go there. It looks amazing. And we're going to be seeing the techno artist Anna there. So it's going to be a very late night. don't think I'm mentally prepared for it, but I can't wait. So next week's episode is going to be a recap of this trip, and I'm going to talk a little bit about space and all that fun stuff. So I thought that would be something different for us. And I'm just really looking forward to a weekend away with my girlfriends, just to like hang out and go to the beach and eat and drink and have fun. So very much looking forward to that. I will be vlogging it as well, so it will be up on my YouTube channel. But that's all that I've got going on. And then clearly 2 weeks after that, we have the biggest festival of the entire year, EDC Las Vegas. And there's so much in store for that, you guys. If you missed last week's episode, I did a full survival guide to EDC. So definitely check that out if you are, planning for the festival. But I will have more information next week, because at this point we still don't have set times and I don't have a map or anything like that. So once all of that comes out, I will cover all of that on my YouTube channel, just under Emma Capotis. You guys can go subscribe over there. So details on meetups, all that fun stuff will be coming out hopefully by next week's episode. Let's hope. Okay. Let's get into today's episode. So today I have a friend of mine, a coworker, Alex Amaro. He's an incredible writer and DJ, and he's been in the dance music industry for a while, doing so many different things. He has a musical background as well. And so, I work with him every single day on Gray Area and on Festival Insider, which is like my primary job right now. And so, yeah, I just wanted to talk with him and learn more about his background, and it's super interesting. So we're going to talk a lot about the dance music industry today, what it's like working in this space, how to break into it. And then we're really going to talk music. We're both big house heads, so we're going to dive into the term EDM and kind of break that down and talk about if that's like overrated and if that really even describes what dance music is. So we're going to spill a little tea on that. Really fun conversation. So I'm super excited about it. But before we get started, quickly, let's go over my artist of the week. So this week I have a brand new artist, completely new to me, like just discovered her probably 2 days ago. And I wanted to highlight her. She's got like only a couple hundred listens on Spotify right now. So you guys are getting in early, but her name is Domi or Dami. I'm not sure. Let's say Dami, Domii. And I discovered her this week because she just released a sick house track on House Trap, which is deadmau5's house label. So good. Really like her sound. Similar to what I always like, guys, like groovy bass house. Really, really fun. Very up and coming artist. And I went back and listened through her other tracks up on Spotify and loved all of them. So get in early. She's absolutely incredible. Give her a follow and show her some support. I'm going to start linking. I haven't done this in the past. I'm going to start linking the artists' Spotify links in the show notes so you guys can go find her. But check out her new tracks. Really, really loving Dami. Who knows, maybe later on I'll have her on the podcast. That would be really cool. So yes, Dami is our artist of the week highlight. And yeah, with all that being said, guys, if you are enjoying Rave Culture Cast, before we jump into the interview here, I would love it if you could pause this and make this your Instagram stories and tag at Rave Culture Cast. Or if you're enjoying it, you can write a review and rate on Apple Podcasts, subscribe to our TikTok, YouTube channel, or come join our communities on Facebook or Discord. With all that being said, let's just jump into this interview with Alex Amaro. Hello, you guys. Welcome back. Today, I am really excited to have this week's guest on. We've only known each other for a couple of months now, but I really admire his work ethic, and knowledge of dance music. And it's been a pleasure working with him on Festival Insider and Gray Area, which we're going to talk about later. So please join me in welcoming Alex Amaro to the podcast.
Thank you so much. What a nice intro.
We'll clip that.
Loved.
Yay. Oh, good. No, I'm so glad you're here. And yeah, just for some background, we'll probably pop up some like B-roll clips, but yeah, we've only known each other for a short time. We got to go to Arc Music Festival together, which was awesome. And now we're working together pretty much every day in the trenches. So
yeah. And thank you for being like my designated rave buddy for that whole weekend. Cause
yes,
I probably couldn't have gotten through it without you.
Yay. Yeah. You guys will see him in the vlogs. I have that up on my channel, but yeah, today you are normally the interviewer. You are now the interviewee. So you can just sit back and relax and enjoy.
All right. I can do that.
Yay. Okay. So I want to dive into everything because I know obviously like scratching the surface, I know a little bit about your career and what you do, but I don't know how this all started. And you've done like a lot of incredible things, worked with some cool organizations. So let's start from the beginning. How did this all begin? And what was your introduction to dance music?
Well, Depending on how far back you want to go,
Yeah.
I've always been like into music like my entire life. My brother was in a boys choir and I used to watch him
Oh.
perform and I wanted to be in the boys choir too. So I started off like professionally singing at the age of 7
Mm.
and like traveled around the world with this boys choir for 10 years. I got to do some really cool things with that. I got to like sing for the Pope a couple of times,
What?
which is insane, and like sing in like
That's
different
crazy.
countries and like do all of these really cool things. And then when I was in high school, I was in a really highly competitive high school choir. So we were like competing, and I was in show choir and jazz ensemble. Like
Wow.
everything has always been about music my whole life. And I always like casually liked dance music, but then like around my 18th birthday, I went to my first rave
Mm-hmm.
and I was like kind of hooked. I was like, this seems pretty cool, but I still have no idea what's going on. And then
Mm-hmm.
like later that year, I like really like went to my like first rave, meaning I dropped like I did drugs
Yeah.
for the first time. and and
Love
to
it.
say my life changed at that moment would be like a massive understatement because like
Mm-hmm.
my entire senior year, I I I like really fucked off. I just like went to parties all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Surprised that I graduated, but it was great because I like found this community that I really loved, and that was like my whole
Mm.
thing. And ever since then, it's always been about dance music, and that's all since I've always been in music. Like
Mm-hmm.
when I was like 6 years old, I remember sitting in my bedroom playing music producer and like putting like
Wow.
an old keyboard up and like a bunch of weird electronic shit from around my room. And like my mom has audio cassettes of me like talking about me going on tour as a musician. Like
Wow.
so like literally the only thing I've ever wanted to do is music. So
That's
that's how I got
awesome.
here. I mean, and like through the course of working in dance music, I've done a bunch of things. I used to throw parties. I used to throw a lot of raves in San Francisco with friends.
Nice.
And writing was never something I envisioned myself doing, but I kind of
Mm-hmm.
fell into it. I got hired for a couple of small blogs, like in the early Bloghouse days,
Mm-hmm.
and I was a producer already. I was and a DJ already. Like I was always doing that because that was always a hustle for me. Like everything
Mm-hmm.
was like a means to an end. I was always doing that just to find a way to promote myself.
Right.
And then I hooked up with Danny Deal, who is like super legendary, and I
Mm-hmm.
wrote for her blog. And she happened to let me know. She was like, "Hey, Insomniac is looking for writers because this is when Insomniac still had an editorial side. They were just starting it."
Right.
And she recommended me for a job there. Um, and that kind of catapulted me in terms of writing because I started writing for them and I was doing like one article a week.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to a Dirty Bird party and felt super inspired and like
Nice.
turned in an article that was outside of like my wheelhouse at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And they published it and they said it was like the most read article of the week. So they started giving me more
Wow.
work and more
Nice.
work. And I did that for 5 years. And by the time I was done working for Insomniac, when they finally shut the site down, I had written like probably 1,500 pieces of content for them.
Wow. That's a fuck ton.
Yeah, it was a lot. I mean, there was one
Wow.
point when I was probably writing like maybe like 50 to 60 pieces a month, like
Jeez.
just
And what kind of
pumping them
writing?
out.
Like all different like
Interviews, a
features?
bunch of I was doing features, I was doing music reviews at first, but they started to scale back on music reviews and I had a knack for interviews. Even over
Mm-hmm.
email, I just, I guess I don't know. I like asking questions. I've
Yeah.
always been like an inquisitive person, so I just ask good questions. So I started doing interviews, and I
Nice.
had my own side of the website because I was a DJ and I was into like the tech side of things. I used to cover like music
Mm-hmm.
tech for them too. So
Cool.
yeah, it was really cool. That's just how I got close to being where I am now.
Wow. Oh my God. Yeah, this is just like spiraled and taken like quite the journey, but that's amazing. Okay, so you're doing a couple of those things currently now as well, but
Yeah,
let's go back to actually DJing and everything. Like how did
yeah.
that come into the picture and what was that process like for you to learn?
I always liked DJing. Like I was super into hip hop in like the 90s. That was like my thing. My
Mhm.
older brother listened to hip hop all the time, so obviously I'm gonna do whatever he likes.
Right.
Um, and I tried my hand at DJing when I was in high school. It's fucking terrible at it.
Mhm.
I tried hip hop. It was really hard. I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna do this. And then like when I got into dance music, and I think I saw Christopher Lawrence for the first time. Like trance
Mm.
was like my first thing. I saw Christopher Lawrence and I stood in front of him on Christmas Eve, bone sober, for 2 hours and watched him play. And I was
Wow.
like, yeah, this is what I want to do. Like,
Mhm.
I want to do this. So I I went and bought a really terrible set of turntables and I learned how to do it. Um,
Wow.
and I did it in my bedroom for a really long time before I played out, like probably a few
Mm-hmm.
years before I ever played out. And because I was already a performer, like it really
Mm-hmm.
fulfills this side of me that I don't always get. Like I don't when I'm beside the scenes when I'm writing or like doing production stuff, like
Mm-hmm.
nobody sees me. When I DJ, I'm like out in front of the crowd and like I like have as much as I'm like
The
shy about things.
pressure. Yeah.
I like the attention being on me for just a little bit of time. Like I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie, I love it. And I get to share music. I love music and I get to share the music that I love and I get to
Mm-hmm.
share my music, which is like another thing that I never thought I'd be doing. Like I've
Yeah.
produced for a long time too, for 10, 15 years, had
Mm-hmm.
record releases, and up until recently, I never even played my songs out because I didn't think they were good enough. And
Really.
just recently when I switched over when started producing house music, I felt confident enough to play my music. So
Wow, that's so exciting. There's so many layers here to like everything you're doing, but that's really, really cool. I mean, yeah, so it's good that you've had that experience already, like being in front of crowds and everything, because I
yeah,
can't even imagine the pressure. Plus, on top of that, you get to see, yeah, you get to make people have a good time and have those same experiences that changed your life as
yeah,
well, which is really, really
absolutely.
cool. So that's still a huge part of you. You love doing it. What's going on with the music now?
So I started producing under Alex Amaro, which is my first name and my middle name, and it's also my dad's name. My dad passed
Mm,
away 6 years ago, but he
mm-hmm.
always super encouraged me to pursue music. Like the day that I found out he passed away, I was actually at a gig. Um,
Wow.
so like it was just a powerful part of my life. So I wanted to give him an
Mm-hmm.
homage. But I switched when I took that name on, I decided I was gonna stop producing what I was producing before and start producing house music. And I
Mm-hmm.
like fell into something that was just like me.
Right.
And everything's progressed from there. So right, I mean, I in the last like few years, I've probably produced like 30 songs and released maybe a quarter of them so far.
Sure.
But I've
Yeah.
I've had some like I think I felt more support in the last 2 years for my music than I ever have in my life.
Good.
I've gotten like major artist support and I've gotten to sign to some really cool labels that are up and comers, and I have like a whole like stack of releases that are coming out in the next year
Mm-hmm.
that I'm super proud of. And I think it's, producing house music for me, I guess people keep telling me it's what I should have been doing the whole time.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah,
And it came later for you. So what were you doing more so before house?
breaks. I was producing breaks, but it was always part of my house was always part of
Mm,
my set. I never
okay.
solely focused on breaks as a DJ.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime somebody asked me what I played, I was like, I just play good music. I
Right.
mean, there was a time when
Genreless.
yeah, I know there was a time when I would like play breaks, house, drum and bass, and trap all in the same set.
Mm-hmm.
But it was always about like breaks and house music. And
Mm,
then I just decided like I started getting like super heavy into how like when tech house and bass house really started to like take on a life of their own a few
mm-hmm.
years ago. Like I want to say like 5, 6 years ago when they really started to emerge in the United States as like
Yeah.
a genre, like genres that had their own sounds for the US.
Mm-hmm.
I I like fell in love with that sound and I was like,
Yep.
okay, this is what I want to do. Like I really want to like push this as far as I can.
That's so cool. Yeah, you guys have to go check out some of his latest releases. So now knowing this, I want to ask, because I'm seeing it from a different perspective, like what was the experience being at ARC like for you, especially now that you're super into house?
Transformative.
Yeah.
Like to say it like lightly, it was transformative. For me, especially somebody who's been in the dance music scene since the late 90s, I used to pick up copies of Mixmag and look at the lineups that were in the UK
Mm-hmm.
and like all over the world and be so jealous that they had such a larger culture for it there.
Mm-hmm.
And knowing where house music came from, knowing that it originated here, and knowing that it originated from like people that look like me,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Yeah.
made it all the more like upsetting to not see it get the love it deserved here. So to go to ARC
Mm-hmm.
and to have like an entire lineup of house and techno, and not just house and techno, but like there were founders there. Like it's like Gene Ferris was there, Derek Carter
Mm-hmm.
was there, like and DJ Heather was like all of these like foundational people were there. it was just amazing.
Yeah.
Like it's just insane to know that it took this long for that to happen, but to see it happen and to be a part, like to be a small part of that, and
Mm-hmm.
to be on the ground and like watch it happen and see so many people really enjoying themselves to this music that's meant so much to me for my whole life, for such a long part of my life. It's just, it was special. It was so special.
Incredible. Yeah, I know it was like hard to do a review of it and like describe it to people because it was like we interviewed a bunch of people there with gray area and they were saying the same thing, like we're surprised this hasn't happened already yet, which
Yeah.
is I agree with. And I'm not really familiar with the Chicago house scene, but to have this combination of such a diverse lineup, plus the people who put on the event, like their knowledge of the production and what should go into it to make it like an incredible experience for the fans and the artists, plus the Elro experience there too,
Oh
which
my
brought in
God.
this whole international
Yeah.
side. It was like such an incredible combination of everything. I can't wait to go back.
Neat. I mean, I'm so excited for year two. Like
Mm-hmm.
I plan on traveling to this thing, even if I'm not working for it. I plan on like
Yeah.
traveling to it time and time again because it was just so amazing. Like
Yep.
I and I'm impressed that at a first year festival they were able to pull off like such an amazing event and
Mm-hmm.
seemingly without a hitch. Like it
Right.
did, like it to the fan, it seemed seamless.
Right. It was really, really amazing. Oh,
Yeah.
that's so cool. And so, music now, just being a huge part of your life, it's your career as well. I want to go back a little bit to the interviews too, because you've
Yeah.
done 1,500 pieces, which is insane. So, I'm sure it's like picking a favorite child, but do any interviews stand out to you, or were there any artists you interviewed that were like really remarkable?
So there were a few when I first started doing interviews for Insomniac that stand out to me. I interviewed Frankie Bones.
Wow.
And that was like a really good one.
Mm-hmm.
Because the amount of history that he has, he was really insightful about his answers. Um, I also interviewed Motiz a couple of times. And he's an Australian artist who moved there from Iraq. He lived through parts of the war in Iraq.
Wow.
So just like hearing his story and about growing up in an oppressive regime and like trying to find music and trying to like navigate that as a child and as a teenager
Mm-hmm.
was really transformative. And then more recently, like some of the stuff I've done for Gray Area has been amazing. LPGOB was
Yes.
one of my, I think that is one of the most insightful hours I've ever spent with somebody in my life. And she's already
Mm-hmm.
somebody I knew before, but getting to like actually chat with her on that level was super amazing. And then there's Will Clark was also amazing. Like I could do this for hours. Like there were
Yeah.
just been so many ones that have been great. And Quarter as well.
Yeah.
She was awesome. And I feel like with Quarter and LP and Will, not only did I like get to interview really awesome artists that I respect and learn a lot about them, but I somehow formed like a friendship with these people in the matter of an
Mhm.
hour, which was really awesome too.
That's amazing. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
the networking, because going back to Danny Deal too, like is a huge part of all of this. So yeah, you're meeting so many incredible people with what you're doing. And obviously there's a respect level from them too, because it's promotion for them, but they're also sharing their story and their music with people and reaching them in a different way. And especially with the Gray Area platform, we can chat a little bit about that. It's solely dedicated to house music and growing that in North America. So
Yeah.
you have these I mean, Will Clark's already like mega talented and even growing from there. And then you have LPGOB and Quarter who are literally exploding as we speak, which is
Yeah.
amazing. So can you speak a little bit about the Gray Area project and your involvement?
Yeah, it's so weird how I got involved with that because I was writing for Festival Insider and I had a couple of bylines and I got asked to do some like news pieces and then MJ decides to like hit me up out of the blue, so like out of nowhere.
Mhm.
He's like, I want to talk to you on the phone. And he calls me and he's like, hey, it's really cool that you want to do all this stuff on Festival Insider, but I have this other side of the site. It's called Gray Area. Do you want to do video interviews? And I was like, okay, sure.
Mhm.
I mean, I've done interviews like before, but I've never like really been on camera. I guess that'd be cool.
Mhm.
Um, so I got brought in on this project that's like he just wants to like create a site devoted to house and techno for North American audiences because there's a hole there.
Mhm.
You have your resident advisors and mix mags in Europe,
Mhm.
and they really focus on that. But you don't have anything in the United States that's like solely focused on house and techno and solely
Mhm.
talking and like really trying to educate these new these new ravers and these new club kids about the culture and its history and the people that are really doing it right now.
Right.
So I really believe in that mission, and it's been incredible to be a part of it, and it's been incredible to like help build this platform and this community that's like solely focused on house and techno in the United States, and like
Mm-hmm.
transporting this thing that somehow became a European behemoth into the back to the United States and saying, hey, this culture exists and you guys need to know about it.
Yeah. I know. I wonder, I mean, yeah, it's been amazing the growth we've had in like the past few
Oh,
months. It's crazy. And the amount of content Alex and I know is
yeah.
nuts. We're posting so many interviews and now magazine articles and all that stuff. So of course we'll link all of this below if you guys want to check out Gray Area at Enter Gray Area on social media. But what do you think it is about, like, obviously internationally it's just so ingrained in their culture and it's been around for such a long time, but there is this change. I know MJ talks about it all the time that's been happening in the last few years, specifically with house music too. The growth just seems to just be going like up and up and up and up. But what do you think are like the major differences between the international audience and the North American?
um I think I think people didn't latch on to dance music in the 80s and the 90s because a lot of it is without lyrics, and
Mm-hmm.
hip hop and dance music came from the same place, and hip hop took off because there's a lyrical component there, and
Mm-hmm.
dance music was always kind of relegated to like dark clubs and dingy warehouses. um and I, in the other countries, the US is kind of new and our music culture is new
Mm-hmm.
in Europe. And I know this from traveling there and singing in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in the boys choir, we would sing, you sing in the United States, and like our parents would be there and their families. We would
Mm-hmm.
go to other countries, and especially in Europe, and there would be churches full of people that had no idea who we were, but they were all there to see us sing because they appreciated music. And I think because of the history of music goes back so much further, and
Mm-hmm.
it's ingrained in the culture. Like, part of your upbringing is to learn an instrument or to
Right.
sing in these other countries. That's not part of our culture. We don't respect the arts as much in the United States as other countries do.
Right.
So I think to take this culture and move it to another country where there's already that deep-seated appreciation for music, they're going to latch onto it because they've already learned to focus on that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the reason it came back here, um and it's because of EDM.
Right.
It's, which is kind of a dirty word.
Yeah. We have a whole article about this, you guys. If
We
you want
do.
to, Alex
We
popped off
do.
on Twitter.
I
Talk
did.
about
I'm
it.
sorry. And I
No, I
mean,
love
like,
it.
I love EDM, and I love the idea that it's a marketing term. But
Mm-hmm.
if they hadn't created the marketing term to create a genre, and let's be honest, there's like a genre of EDM that's EDM, it
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't have popped off like that. Because 10 years ago, at the end of Bloghouse, when like Daft Punk and like
Mm-hmm.
Justice were getting big, that was like a big deal. It was, and the marketing people said, look, we can market this, and they turned it into something. And all of those kids that got into EDM then,
Mm-hmm.
you know as much as I do, the longer you stay in dance music, the more refined your tastes get,
Yes.
the more
Yep.
likely you are to dive down the rabbit hole.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like an 18-month cycle for people that are just tourists in dance music,
Sure.
and then there's the lifer,
Mm-hmm.
like you and myself and MJ and all these other people that we know. And those
Mm-hmm.
people will dive down the rabbit hole inevitably. And that's how we got to house and techno being so big here. Because
Right.
all of these EDM kids, all of these kids that their first show was like an EDC or a Tiesto show,
Yep.
or like seeing somebody like Martin Garrix.
Mm-hmm.
The reason they kept diving down the rabbit holes because they fell in love with it, and they just kept going and going. And that's how you get an arc. That's how you get
Mm-hmm.
like Factory 93 for
Love
Insomniac.
it. Yeah.
Like, that's how you get that stuff, because we're finally figuring out what the rest of the world's knew 30 years ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Oh, that was so well said. I'm glad you touched on EDM in general, because I feel like it is one of these things. And for me personally, I'm very big on not, or at least with my own personal content, like coming across very approachable. And I never
Yeah.
want to come off like snobby or elitist, because I know there can be a whole side of dance music that can feel that way.
Yeah.
But to your point, it's just like a matter of education. And, I call things like, I have my EDM news segment and stuff like that. And now just having a better understanding of it, I feel like for me, I'll still use it because I know like for search. That's what the average person is searching for, and the hashtags you're using and stuff like that. So I will use it for that. But now I don't know if anybody's picked up on it, but literally since working with MJ, I referred to it like as dance music now way, way, way more than I'm saying EDM, because I do recognize it's just some of these art you wouldn't call like Leila Benitez EDM ever.
No. And
yes,
I mean,
she's not.
That's been the thing for me since the beginning. I feel like it's such a EDM is too broad. Like EDM's not is like one section of dance music. Like
totally.
You wouldn't call like rock and hip hop and jazz music are all different. Those are genres. And like people say, but house and techno and trance are just subgenres of EDM. And it's like, no, house is its own genre with its own subgenres. You can listen to it next to techno or next to trance and see the distinct differences in between them and know that they all developed independently of each other. Maybe they came from the same origin 30 years ago, but they're not the same now. So let's call things what they are. I'm fine calling house music, even if it's tech house or bass house or
right. It's house. Like the umbrella. Yeah.
I can call house music, and trance, and like drum and bass, because they all have their own unique subgenres that let's call things what they are. EDM's
this is
great.
So good.
Yeah, EDM's great. And it's a great way to get into dance music. But once you get further in, it's okay to call things what they are. I feel like even the lay person now knows what house music is. Like you say house and they can attach themselves to something that they recognize that as. Lots of people understand what these things are.
Right.
We've been doing this for long enough that people get it.
Yeah. No, I love it. I'm so excited. I'm pinning this as a comment, guys. Sound off on YouTube, please. We want to get the debates going. We want to know, and we want to hear from you.
And if they don't know what it is, tell them. Like, I spent years as a Lyft driver, and a woman got into my car once, and she was like, "Oh," she's like, "What are you listening to?" And I was like, "Oh, this is house." And she was like, "This is just not EDM." And I was like, "No, there's a difference between all of them."
Right.
And I was like, "There's like house and there's drum and bass." She was like, "What's drum and bass?" And I was like, "Hold on a second. I'm gonna play it for you." And I was like, "This is house music, what you're listening to." I played drum and bass for her. She was like, "Oh my god, that's so much different." And I got a comment later that week, and I like they used to give comments like in an email. And one of the comments was, "He taught me what drum and bass was in a matter of 3 minutes at a Lyft ride." And that to me is like why I do this shit too.
Yeah.
Because I want everybody to know that dance music is diverse and beautiful. And it's not just all bleep bloop music, bleep bloop noises that people on drugs dance to in dirty warehouses and at festivals, real sweaty. I want everybody to understand how beautiful this stuff is.
I could not agree with you more. That's such a good way of saying that. Yeah, it's just that's what we're doing with Gray Area and with these other platforms. It's just helping people discover what else is out there, because there is so much, and there's so much growth that can happen with this too. So with this podcast, Gray Area, like we just hope that you guys come down the rabbit hole with us. Come along for the ride, right?
It's fun. It's fun.
It's so much talent. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's fun being like just getting lost in it all the time. It's great. I love what I do, and I love that we get to spread this message to as many people as we possibly can.
I totally agree. Yeah. And I mean, I literally have an example of this from this past week. There was a City Fox show announced in New York. It's a Halloween show, fucking crazy stacked, like house and techno, ridiculous. And love my friends. I sent it to them and they were like, "I don't know a single fucking name on this." And I was like, "Are you guys kidding me?" But at the same time, it's because it's just what people know. And if they don't know it, that's totally fine. But I was like, I'm going to send you some links. I was like, don't even worry about it. Just trust me. Just trust my taste and buy a ticket to this with me. You will love it. So I think there's just a part you just got to be like open to discovering new stuff. And it comes with age too. And I feel like just maybe not age, but just the longer you're in it, you start to care less and less about recognizing names. Cause that was me for a really long time. Like I'm looking at the headliners in 2015, 2016, 2017, and not the undercard. And now it's like, who cares? You don't need to know the name.
No. And let's be honest, the undercard is where it's at a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Like, I've had just as much fun watching somebody play on the biggest stage as I have on a small side stage, seeing somebody that's going to be everybody's favorite DJ in 6 months to a year.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. There's so much fun like in that in itself. Yeah. Oof, I can't wait. I'm thinking of like EDC Las Vegas is the next festival I'm attending. And so for that, I always encourage people, I'm like, go to Stereo Bloom. That's like their smaller kind of stage. Stereo Bloom
is my favorite stage.
It's so good. Yeah.
It's my favorite stage.
It's because the house stage.
It's the house stage. And I love Insomniac Records.
Yeah.
And I worked for, I mean, I'm slightly biased because I worked for them and I
Yeah.
worked directly with the label a lot, but I just love Stereo Bloom and I love Factory 90. I love Factory 93. Like, but Stereo Bloom is just amazing. It's the best.
hmm
It's just like it's like a small stage on the side, and it
So
feels like
fun.
it feels like it that feels like a rave to me.
Yeah.
Like it's not like all blown out. Like I love all the other stages too, but I feel
hmm
like I feel very at home with with Stereo Bloom. It's
Yeah,
really
it's such a vibe. That and
it
Neon
is.
Garden. I want
Neon
to spend a
Garden.
lot of time at this
Yes.
year. Very excited about the lineup there. All right, I'm gonna let you go in a second here, but I want to talk about like somebody listening to this who, you've had a lot of experience over the years. Like you said, like the formatting of blogs have changed. There's all
Yeah.
different kinds of digital media outlets now and dance music. Like if somebody wants to get into this, whether it's writing or interviewing or something, any advice for people listening?
You miss 100% of the shots you don't shoot. Don't be afraid to reach out to somebody and ask for an opportunity because the worst thing that they could do is say no. And then you just move on to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is like you kind of have to show up for the first part of it. For like maybe you have to show up for years or for months or weeks, but you just have to show up to things. Like if you're trying to get into DJing or as a producer, you have to show up to events, you have to make comments in people's like posts online, you have to
Mm-hmm.
reach out to people, but above all, be nice. Be nice to everybody
Yep.
because you have no idea how small this community actually is.
Mm-hmm.
And you are going to run into the same people over and over again for the rest of your life if you plan on staying in this for the rest of your life. I
Mm-hmm.
keep running into the same people over and over again. And that's why it's so important to be nice, be humble, be genuine, and, keep at it. If you really love this enough, you'll find your spot.
Yep.
It may not be the spot that you intended,
Mm-hmm.
but you'll find your spot. And yeah, you can do this. You just have to keep at it.
I love that. I hope somebody's inspired listening to this. And yeah, also like I want to add on to that. Like you said earlier, you fell into writing. And I feel like there
Yeah.
can be a lot of that too. Like hold true to your vision and know like you're obviously gonna have your passions and what you want to do. And it might not look exactly like what you think it's going to, but sometimes you kind of you've had so many different experiences now. And like you
Yeah.
said, you DJing and having that background, like when I listen to your interviews, you have the technical knowledge that I don't have. Like, and you bring an element where you can really relate to the artist because you have that experience.
Right.
So I also feel like if you think you're going to get into writing and then these other opportunities pop up, like, I don't know, follow your intuition and you never know where it might lead.
Don't say no to opportunities either, even if it's not necessarily the thing that you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Like you never know what could result out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if somebody says, hey, do you want to like help promote a show and it's really early on, try it. I mean, you never know, that experience may be the thing that you want to do, but try
Mm-hmm.
everything, give it all a go. Because if you really love music, you gotta like put your whole heart into it and go for it.
Love it. Let's end it on that note. That was perfect.
Right.
Where can everybody connect with you, Alex?
I am on Twitter at _Alex Amaro. I'm on Instagram at Alex_Amaro_music. And I'm on Facebook at Alex Amaro Official. You can find me on Spotify as Alex Amaro, and I'm on SoundCloud as Alex Amaro.
Perfect. Okay, I'm going to put all the links down below. This was such a fun conversation. I'm excited to hear the comments and feedback on this. So definitely go check us out on YouTube, you guys, and leave some comments. But Alex, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me, Emma. Like it's so nice to be on the other side of the conversation for once. It's nice to answer questions.
Yeah. Oh my God. No, I'm so happy you're here. I will let you go. Everybody else, hang tight. I will be back in just a second with EDM/dance music news. Okay, bye.
Bye.
Alrighty, you guys. I hope you enjoyed that episode with Alex. It was so great talking to him in a different format than our everyday Slack messages and things like that. So really cool learning about his history in dance music. Definitely go show him some love and some support. And again, check out Gray Area. If you guys are a fan of house music, I know you will love it. We are pumping out content over there. So many incredible artist interviews. I'm running all of the socials, so we've got all of that going on. So definitely check it out. And we also have Festival Insider if you guys want more information on music festivals and dance music culture. That is a great place to check that out as well. So all of that will be linked down below in the show notes. With that being said, let's just jump into our news segment. I've got a couple bigger things here that I want to run through with you. some like big changes in the dance music industry, which are really cool. And then we've got some lineup announcements as well. So first and foremost, I want to quickly, you probably already know it's out, but I have to highlight the Ophelia Fam mega collab that came out last Friday called Pantheon. So fire. It's like every artist you would love. Oh my gosh. So it's Seven Lions, Demibo, Blastoise, Trifecta, Wooly, Jason Ross. Oh my gosh, I hope I didn't forget anybody. I think that's everybody, but it's like absolutely incredible. And they did such a good job with that. So definitely check that out if you haven't heard Pantheon yet. Loving that. A really big announcement. So Dice, if some of you guys are familiar, it's a UK-based mobile ticketing app. I've bought tickets to different shows on it. A couple days ago, this is on grayarea.co. You can go to our magazine page. Speaking of Gray Area. But they just acquired Boiler Room. Boiler Room, if you guys don't know, is an online music broadcasting platform. They're really, really big on socials. They post all kinds of dance music clips and things like that. So Dice just purchased them. I believe after Dice raised $122 million in Series C funding, they became valued at a $400 million for their innovative discovery and ticketing platform, which is incredible. So yeah, the app acquired Boiler Room, which is a really big move. You can go to grayarea.co/magazine to read more information on that, but that was a big announcement. We also have an announcement with Twitch. So they just announced a partnership with Warner Music Group, which I believe, according to EDMmaniac.com, is the first time Twitch has partnered with a large force in the music industry, which is really cool. Obviously, Twitch blew up throughout quarantine, and it's a huge platform for gaming, but now also for music and live streaming and everything like that. So this is a huge move. I think it'll be really good for artists as well, but that is over on EDM Maniac if you want to read more about that. What else? Oh, I don't think I've mentioned this yet, but we have the Elro NYC lineup. So I'm going to this event on December 11th. I will never miss another Elro show in New York City because they are the fucking best. And it's the craziest experience you will ever have, you guys. They're doing a North American tour right now. So I know they're going to be in Chicago, Miami, New York. There's another, I forget what the other city is, but look if they're coming and you can't miss it. So they're doing their Rose Attacks theme in New York on December 11th. It's 3 stages. It's at Avant Gardner. I believe they're going to take over King's Hall as well. The Rose Attacks theme is all like space themed, like very intergalactic, and like just Google Elro Rose Attacks. It's fucking crazy. They have like UFOs hanging from the ceiling. They're performers, stilt walkers, confetti cannon, all the crazy shit. So we have the first phase of the lineup and it's absolutely stacked. If you are a house music fan, Elro is where it's at. So we have Andrea Oliva, Archie Hamilton, Bastion Bucks, huge, Shalina Menahutu, Clooney, who I've been dying to see, Detlef, Ilario Alicante, Jay Wara. I'm so excited to see her. Lee Foss. Hell yes, Lee Foss, LPGOV, my girl, Martin Eichen, Teeny Gessler, and West End. So much heat. I cannot wait for this lineup, and that's more to be announced. That's just the phase 1 lineup. So very excited about that. Tickets are on sale. Definitely don't sleep on it because it will sell out. And I think that's pretty much it. We also got the EDC Orlando daily lineups, which I don't think I mentioned last week because it just dropped. But this lineup is, just as stacked as, I typed in Vegas. Hold on. I mean, this lineup is just as crazy as Vegas's lineup is. There's no surprise there. I think I did recommendations already on Instagram, but I'll quickly look through it now. Oh, a Craze is playing Orlando. Why didn't I realize that? A Craze is the guy who's like absolutely blowing up right now with his song, Do It To It. Bounce with it, drop with it, lean with it, rock with it, step, dun it. All my ladies, bounce with it, rock with it. You guys know. That's the longest I've ever sang in the podcast, but so good. He's on Friday. The Black Coffee Sunset set. How could I forget? There's so many good sunset sets. I'm not even going to get into it, but your daily lineups are here. It's absolutely stacked. Actually, I just thought of another thing while I'm here. Last thing I'll say. If you are staying at Homebase for EDC Orlando, which for any of you who don't know, Homebase is basically like this huge hotel takeover that's based in Florida. So they partner with Orlando and a couple other events that they do on their own. And it was supposed to be at the Avanti Palms. So if you have a ticket, make sure you check your email. I guess they said like due to unforeseen circumstances, they are moving hotels. So originally it was going to be 2 hotels. They're combining it into one, and it's at the Wyndham Orlando Resorts Hotel now. So everybody will be there. You don't have to do anything if you purchase a ticket. So I have a room with 2 queen beds. They said you'll get something like comparable at the new hotel. So if you had like a VIP room or a balcony room or something, they're going to try and get you the exact same room at this new resort. They dropped the lineup for the pre-parties and pool parties and after parties and all that shit, and it's absolutely stacked. So we just won't be sleeping that weekend, basically. Not sleeping at all. A lot of bass music, some house, definitely some house in there, but a lot of bass music. So we'll have plenty of activities and things to do at Homebase, which is going to be amazing. So I will probably plan meetups at Homebase too, so we can all hang out that weekend. But I think that's everything I have on the news front right now. Again, can't stress enough, you guys, how grateful I am for you being here and listening to Rave Culture Cast. If you guys are enjoying the podcast, again, there's so many different ways you can support it. So rate, review, subscribe, come join our communities on Facebook and Discord, especially as we're leading up, to these big festivals. I have a lot of announcements, meetup plans, all those details go in those groups. What else? I'm working on a brand new merch line, which I'll tell you now. I posted this in the Facebook group. You guys will also get the first sneak peek. Like I'm always going to show our Facebook group community, either in a Zoom call or something like that, sneak peeks at the design. But I have been working on some of these designs for over a year, and I'm finally at a place where I was so happy with the designs. I put everything together. I just ordered all of the merch samples. So as soon as they come in, I'm going to be testing them out. If they are to my liking and standard, then I will pick a launch date and you guys will know about it. But it's the biggest line I've ever done. It's not Rave Culture Cast related. It's all just like general dance music. Yeah, sayings, phrases, all that good shit. So I hope it will be really exciting for people who even don't listen to the podcast. But all of those things are coming. So thank you guys for sticking around to the end of the episode. I hope you have an incredible week. The next time you see me, I'll be talking about my trip to Miami, and I think that's it. Have an incredible week, you guys, and I will see you next Wednesday with the new episode. Bye, guys.